Breaking news just coming in. Like I said, actor turned politician, the TVK chief Vijay has appeared before the CBI at their headquarters in the national capital. He will be grilled on the delay in arriving at the Karur venue for the rally, among other questions as well. We will bring you all the details on what he will be questioned over in a moment from now. Our reporters also lined up to bring you all the perspective, all the angles on this story. But here's a quick check on the line of questioning that NDTV has access. What will the CBI be asking actor turned politician Vijay? Let's start with the first question that we have access, which will be, why did the program start 7 hours late? The next question is, what explains the delay in time of arrival when it comes to actor turned politician Vijay? Also, was crowd estimate shared with the administration? Important question there, because you saw a lot more people turn up for Vijay's rally than expected. Did the party foresee the crowd swelling that took place even in those 7 hours while Vijay didn't arrive at the venue? Was there coordination between the police and the district administration? Was crowd management discussed with authorities? Is another question on the coordination with the police on the ground there in Karur. The other question will be on Vijay's movement. Was there a planned timeline for movements? Who monitored adherence? How was Vijay's vehicle allowed to move in the dense crowd? So many questions there that will be asked of Vijay. But before we bring you more on that, there is some breaking news coming in. TVK chief Vijay is currently at the CBI headquarters being questioned by the Central Investigative Agency over the Karur Stampede. Remember, the stampede at a TVK rally in Karur took place in September and had claimed 41 lives. This is the first time that the CBI is questioning Vijay ever since it took over the probe. This questioning comes months ahead of the Tamilaga elections. The central agency is probing alleged mismanagement and violations at the 27th September Karur rally. So far, the CBI has recorded statements of security and traffic officials, examined duty rosters, deployment plans and communication logs, and carried out questioning at the TVK headquarters. Investigators have also conducted a forensic examination of Vijay's campaign vehicle. TVK, meanwhile, has maintained that Vijay will cooperate fully and that he has nothing to hide. Veera joining me live along with our other reporters. Veera, I want to understand from you before we go into what's happening outside the CBI headquarters, the significance, the meaning of Vijay here being in Delhi at the CBI headquarters, an area of questions lined up for him. The most important obviously being over the movement of Vijay, the delay of 7 hours at this point. What could this mean for him today and in the coming days ahead for Vijay in terms of this probe?
Important question there, Vedika. Look, Vijay has been called as a witness and they will be questioning him regarding what exactly happened. And as you rightly pointed out, one of the key questions that was raised is the delay in his arrival, which is normal as far as Vijay's rallies are concerned. Wherever he goes, there is a huge crowd. So that's perhaps just an optics question, but there are multiple other questions as well for the CBI to understand what really happens. But that's not really the focus, right? The focus is really how far is this going to go? And as observers have been pointing out, the question is whether it's going to be just a few hours of questioning because they had to do it. It's the process and he had to appear before it, given that it's the TVK which sought an independent probe, and it would not be complete without questioning of Vijay and taking his point in since he was there. But how far is this going to go would crucially determine what kind of a narrative this whole thing sets up. Whether it's going to go on for a few hours extra, whether he has to stay overnight, how this is going to play out. And the other thing is, of course, the timing, Vedika. Jananayagan release being delayed, then this summons coming up, then there is talk of potential alliances in Tamil Nadu. So all that will be, is a mystery puzzle that will get sorted in the next few days, perhaps.
Focus to Delhi as well. Veera, I'll come back to you in a moment from now. Akhil, Anushka live also from outside the CBI headquarters. Akhil, coming to you. You've been speaking with TVK supporters as well, some of them outside the CBI headquarters. What have they been saying to you at this point?
Well, Vedika, if you see right now the breaking development that we are getting from the CBI sources, that right now the questioning of Tamil superstar Vijay has already begun by the CBI sleuths. Earlier, what we have seen that this very morning at around 7:30 a.m., what we have seen that Vijay has left his residence in Chennai and then he moved towards the airport where he has taken a 8 a.m. flight and he has landed to the national capital at around 10:30 a.m. And since then we have been following him in the national capital, and what we have seen that he has arrived over here at the very CBI headquarters, which is a Central Investigative Agency headquarters, where his questioning is right now going on by the CBI sleuth in connection with the matter. Because in this case, what we have seen that earlier, if you see in that very unfortunate incident, there were 41 individuals who have lost their lives, and there were 80 to 90 individuals who have got badly injured. So the investigation by the CBI is going to be basically conducted on different levels, because if you see initially what we have seen that the SIT team was basically probing this entire matter, and later on what we have also seen that the case was basically transferred to the Central Investigative Agency to probe this matter. And in this case, the second liner leaders of the TVK was questioned by the CBI, and now what we are seeing that the TVK chief has been called by the CBI to being interrogated regarding his role and his involvement in connection with the case. Because if you see, there was one thing which has basically come to the light, in which what we have seen that at that point in time when that unfortunate tragedy basically has taken place, Vijay, the Tamil superstar, continued with his speech. So that is a very important and crucial point that is going to be questioned by the CBI sleuths in this matter.
Right.
And apart from that, if you see, what we have also learned that if you see the event was basically organized by the TVK supporters, TVK management team as well. So who those individuals were, they were already questioned by the CBI in the round one, and in the round two, what we are seeing that today the Tamil superstar has been called in at the very CBI headquarters. Behind me, you can see the visuals of the CBI headquarters, and it is very much expected that on those lines regarding his involvement, that why there was certainly a delay in starting that rally. Because if you see, there was not a 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour, there was approximately a 7-hour delay in starting that rally. So that's a very big question on the part of the mismanagement that basically has taken place, in which what we have seen that 41 lives have been lost. So on those lines, CBI is very much expected to question and grill the Tamil superstar.
Right. Akhil, do stay with me. I also have Vasudha joining me from the newsroom. Vasudha, we don't know how long the questioning is going to last. Is it going to be just today? Will it spill onto tomorrow? How long is Vijay here for now at least?
What we understand that he's being questioned on the 8th floor of the second building of CBI, and the question could also, be happening tomorrow. But that we don't know so far. What we know so far is that document verification, paperwork is underway, and the questioning is likely to begin very soon. But the political impact of this, Vedika, is very important, because remember that the AIDMK BJP has already said that it will be announcing a grand alliance before Pongal. So Pongal is nearing. 14th, 15th is celebrated as Pongal, and Vijay comes to Delhi at a time when Jananayak and his blockbuster, his last movie before he gets into full-time politics, is still awaiting certificate from the CBFC. And the Karur incident was being seen as an albatross around Vijay's neck. But remember, that didn't seem like it, because his rallies are back on track. And we know from our own, from the kind of voices that we've gotten from ground, that nobody seems to be blaming him outright. So this is also a sign for the DMK that politically things are not, politically things are volatile for the DMK and for the TVK and for the AIDMK as well. So this in some ways intensifies the situation, the political situation, even as all the action shifts to Delhi. I have Bismi with me here, and she has some information on what is happening at the CBI headquarters. And Bismi, tell us how has the case really proceeded, and how many people have been investigated so far?
Right. So first, let me start with the documents. Vijay by the CBI has been asked to give written submissions which include certain questions, and I'd like to read it for our viewers. This includes proof of permissions, crowd control strategy, volunteering, emergency response team that was supposedly to be there in case of any sort of mishap that would have transpired at the location. Secondly, he was also asked about the details of all communication between the TVK organizers, police and and district officials before and during the rally. This is very important because this would put in line how the tragedy actually unfolded, whose fault it was. Thirdly, the timeline of his arrival, which is of utmost importance here because the crowd went crazy right after his arrival, and then his public appearance with investigators probing whether the schedule was changed or or anything in the schedule that might have led to the mishap. Fourthly, how security arrangements were planned and handled. Again, the contingency plans in place to handle any sort of a mishap that might have taken place.
And some of his close associates have already been, interrogated, right?
Right. So the last point here is also about food expenses, water expenses, and other financial documents in regard to his visit that day on the location. Right. Now, he'll also be questioned about the visuals where he was seen atop a vehicle, when he entered there, and also about continuing his speech for 7-8 minutes when the stampede had supposedly already begun.
That's a very important point, Vedika, because even visuals show us that he went on with his speech even as somebody was painting on one side. But yes, he has always maintained that the TVK has always said that it is a conspiracy by the DMK and that the ruling administration did not give them the kind of support that they needed. But yes, questions have been asked of Vijay as well as to how 30,000 people turned up when 10,000 people were permitted for this, and the blame was also put on the sponsors by the DMK. But remember, the investigation is still on. And how many people have been questioned so far?
So far, 9 people have been questioned, including Adav Arjuna, Basi Anand, CTR Nirmal Kumar, Mathia Lagan, Vijay's driver, and also from the police, Karur Inspector, Karur Deputy Superintendent.
All of these are leaders of the DMK, and also the driver of the campaign vehicle, Mathia Lagan, has also been questioned. Back to you, Vedika.
Important points there that you and Vismi bring to our viewers there. I want to bring in Veera once again at this point. Veera, we're playing this one visual of the TVK chief Vijay smiling briefly, waving at the media. That's the only shot that we have of his before he goes into the CBI headquarters onto the 8th floor, like Vasudha pointed out. But let's just take a step back and understand what all has changed for Vijay ever since the Karur Stampede, the political overturns of it all.
Oh, that's a very important question, Vedika. Look, till the Stampede, first thing that's changed since the Stampede is that his entire campaign plan has been derailed. He was supposed to be across every district of the state and doing those weekend meetings that he was doing. Now that's completely gone for a toss. After the Stampede, he's been able to have only one. That was in Erode that he had a short while ago. So, you see, the problem is that for him, in terms of bringing up the mobilization and that crowd campaign, the momentum that he wanted to build towards before the assembly elections were announced, that seems to have been derailed. But on the other hand, what's changed is he's realized that his party, or at least the guys advising him, the people advising him, have realized that the party needs a solid infrastructure and a solid structure to respond to a crisis of this nature, because of which several committees were formed. You have Sengotean leaders like Sengotean who have grassroots experience joining the TVK and trying to create that structure. How this will play out from now on, because you see, in many ways, Vedika, let's understand the importance of Jananayagan. Jananayagan was supposed to set the tone. Re-emergence of Vijay after everything else, set the tone and start the narrative and build the momentum towards the election campaign. So when Jananayagan will be released, is it being held hostage for political pressure? That's a big question mark. We believe the producers are hoping for a target on 30th of January.
Veera, I wonder, I'm just going to jump in here because I have this question I've been wanting to ask you. I wonder if it would have played out differently, completely differently, if Vijay was still just the superstar, the actor with no political ambitions when it comes to this movie of his.
$1 million or $1 million rupee question, Vedika. I can't answer that, but I'm sure that I can infer that it would have played differently, because there wouldn't have been so much focus around him. And I think in hindsight, there will be those who question whether the DMK overreacted and overreached itself in the targeting of Vijay soon after that stampede, virtually blaming him and the TVK for it, setting up investigations and putting the blame on the TVK. Perhaps that pushed him towards moving the Supreme Court and seeking for refuge from an independent probe, which ended up being the CBI, which is now, as Vasudha says, an albatross around his neck. He's got the center and the state taking him out.
All right, I'm going to go back to Anushka and Akhil in a moment from now. But before that, Sam Daniel joining us live from Chennai as well. Sam, you've been speaking with leaders within the TVK fold. How are they viewing this visit, this summon to Delhi? of Vijay's. He's being grilled by the CBI currently. What do they have to say? There seems to be an audio problem there with Sam. All right, Sam, I'm going to come back to you in a moment from now. We can't hear you there. Anushka also standing by. Anushka, you've been tracking all the developments at the CBI headquarters ever since Vijay got there. Like I said, a brief smile, a wave to the cameras. What are we expecting over the next few hours? And what are your sources within the CBI telling you? Is the questioning only limited to today, or could it spill into tomorrow as well?
Well, Vedika, this will come to light after the investigation picks up pace, as the investigation, goes out throughout the day as the day passes. Now, what we are here to see, what we seem to understand by now is that the CBI is about to ask several questions to TVK Chief Vijay about how he got late to that, the campaign which was in fact being held at Karur. He was not late by 1 or 2 hours, but by a significant, 7-hour delay was in fact there, and also the kind of crowd gathering that was seen there. So the main point the CBI is going to raise there is whether or not this was a way of showing it was a show of strength. Whether when he saw that the stampede-like situation happened, then why did he not cancel the rally? 10,000 people were already waiting at the campaign site, and people were quite restless because of the delays that were in fact happening. There were no water arrangements that was in fact kept in place. The emergency and exit that was in fact supposed to be taken care of by the administration. Now, the Vijay has in fact constantly said that this is a conspiracy that is in fact happening here, and this is also related to how his movie was in fact not being able to release on time. But now we are seeing that the investigation will start in quite a few while, and he will be asked all those questions about the delay that happened there when the Karur rally was about to pick up. Now, Vijay has in fact also given 20 lakh to the people, the family of the victims, and 2 lakh to the people who were injured in this whole process. But now we are seeing his inside the CBI office, and the investigation is about to begin quite soon. We'll show you the visuals of the kind of arrangement that has been in fact made here, given the kind of fan following that Vijay has. We can clearly see the road right next to me is cordoned off, and we can also see fans of Vijay who are right now outside the CBI headquarters and are constantly saying that they support him and they do not hold him responsible for what happened in Karur that unfortunate day. But now we are seeing that the investigation will determine whether or not there was any case which can go against Vijay. He's here today as a witness, and the CBI will decide whether or not to call him once again, if they're satisfied with his answers or not, and how he cooperates with the investigating agencies in this round of questioning that is set
I see Lata's also joined us live. Lata, welcome to Breaking Ground. I'm going to come to you in a moment from now. Before that, for our viewers, you need to understand what the allegations are, the lapses are in the Karur Stampede that were brought about earlier. Let's take you through some of them. The first being complete mismanagement led to the stampede is one of the lapses that has been alleged by even the police as well as the SIT. Their gross negligence, poor planning, chaos at venue. The third being Vijay climbed onto the bus to greet the crowd. Now remember, we're taking you through these lapses for you to understand the line of questioning that will continue through the day today by the CBI office as well. The fourth being people bent down to pick bottles Vijay threw. They got crushed. 41 people died in the Karur Stampede. We're also alluding to some of those who bent down to pick bottles that Vijay threw, and they got crushed in the process. Victims fell into open drains. Lights went out as stampede began is another allegation and a lapse that we're talking about. And venue approved despite safety violations. A lot of questions that will be asked. But Lata now joining us as well. Lata, I want to understand from you all the developments that have happened, especially in the last, let's say, 3 to 4 days, be it his movie, be it the summoning. How is this really playing out within the industry as well? From where I see it, this could also be, a plus in a way for Vijay. And correct me if I'm wrong, because the sympathy vote may also go his way in the long run.
Thanks, Vedika. Firstly, we need to understand when the Karur Stampede happened and so many lives were lost. The fans and even the people of Karur, so many of them supported Vijay. They said it wasn't his fault at all as to what happened. So there was a lot of sympathy for him at that time itself. And now that his film is facing problems with the CBFC and its release, there is even more support. And the Tamil film industry itself has vocally spoken out about it and how, films are being targeted, and particularly his film. There have been, politicians from Congress in Tamil Nadu who have said, this is targeting Vijay and it's not right. So there is a lot of movement and mass support for him on the ground. And this is definitely going to be a big advantage for him in the Tamil Nadu elections which are coming up.
Also, let's just take our viewers through the allegations against actor turned politician Vijay, after which I'll go across to Veera once again. Now, the first allegation is that Vijay fled the rally site soon after the stampede began. One of the biggest allegations against him: showed no remorse, no responsibility, is another allegation against the actor turned politician. Also, negligence and poor leadership is a third allegation against him. Lacks empathy for loss of lives. Remember, Vijay did meet the families of those who lost their near and dear ones, and he spoke with them at length, but that was something he did without the cameras being focused on that conversation he had with those family members. TVK's focus on publicity, not on condolence. Coming back to you, Veera, at this point, do you think there was too much that the DMK said, the allegations, their actions in terms of the Karur Stampede, that also led eventually to this investigation moving to Delhi?
In a sense, I would believe so. I think the DMK overstretched itself, though Stalin himself did not blame Vijay directly. The rest of the leadership turned around and made it look like it was Vijay's fault and the TVK's fault at the stampede. The questions that you're raising, some of the allegations that even we put out just now, Vedika, would seem a little unfair. You see, the point is that had he come back there, it would have created more chaos. So his point was to leave the venue. And I think from the TVK's point of view, the argument was that they didn't see it as a political event. They just saw it as a disaster that's hit them. They had no idea how to react to it. And I think at that stage, turning it political sort of pushed the TVK, which did not have a very strong strategic structure or strategists around to respond to that situation, more to moving the Supreme Court and accusing it of a conspiracy and trying to seek an independent body, because they had to move away from the DMK. The DMK was beginning to set a narrative that the TVK was incapable of handling the events and Vijay's growing crowds. It has derailed in many ways, as I mentioned, Vijay's campaign so far. We'll have to wait and see how this plays out, because the question of alliances is what is crucially hanging over Vijay, and also the question of the release of his film Jananayagan, as Lata was pointing out. So multiple factors at play. We can't say anything straight up because we don't have evidence to say that, but then multiple political power plays in progress right now, Vedika.
Veera, Raghav and Lata, thank you so much for joining us. Also, the other reporters on the ground who have been adding perspective, giving you all the latest on this case. This, of course, will be a top focus on Breaking Ground and on NDTV.